Welcome back, everybody, to Chaldean News TV. I'm here with Shamash, also known as Joseph Arabu, at the Bet Nahrain Art Show, and he is providing beautiful live music for the art show here at the Chaldean Community Foundation. Welcome, and thank you for being here.
Thanks so much for having me. It is honestly such a blessing to be able to share my art and expression in this way for our community. I really enjoy gatherings like this because it helps us solidify our roots, where we come from, where we're going, and we've got something so proud to be a part of, being descendants of the nation of firsts, inventions and civilization, kings and queens, and yeah, there's a lot to unpack here, but it's such a blessing to be here, and I really appreciate this opportunity.
Beautiful. So tell us about your art, music.
Yeah.
How do you see it, and how do you use it?
So initially, a lot of people recognize me. I used to be a wedding singer, and I sang weddings for several years. And I became an attorney, which is my day job. I'm a criminal defense lawyer. And I now make house and techno music, and have played shows around the world to audiences of 20, 30,000. And the music that I make is geared at uplifting people. House and techno is a universal language. It's dance music. It brings everybody to the dance floor to express themselves and be free. And the way I use music to preserve our identity is using ancient instruments that we still use, like duduk or zorna or tambura. I use that in the dance music to capture a wider variety of audience, also ancient singing styles like rawe and spoken word and poetry within the music, to let the world know that we're still here as a people. Our language is one of the oldest in the world. It's such an amazing thing to be able to preserve our language and let the world know that we're still here, we're still kicking as a nation, and also to let people in my generation know that they can find ways to express themselves through art or through literature or whatever it is in order to keep our identity alive. And music is just the way that I do that.
That's awesome. That's a great answer. And so this specific show is benefiting the tragic wedding fire in Bakhdeda. And it was almost canceled, actually, until the participants, the artists, decided instead to use the donations and proceeds to help the victims of the fire. What was your role in that, and how do you see, how should we best support those victims?
That's a really that's a very appropriate question. Not only because this is an event that's going to benefit the survivors and families of those survivors, or even families of those that we lost. But I was there during the fire. So I was on the Nineveh Rising trip. I was there. It was the last 4 days of our trip there. So it especially means something to me, having been that close to a tragedy that affects our entire nation, not just the village. This is us as a people. All the people that are not going to grow up and have families one day, and all the people that are neighbors or cousins or brothers or sisters of those that have been lost. It's a really deep tragedy. And it's somewhat maybe a little bit easier not to feel it when you're a world away, but it certainly hits home when you're there. It's a very important event that we're doing. These people are going to need a lifetime of support and help. And it's wonderful, though, because I'm the type of guy that always looks at the silver lining in this situation. There is an upside. I've seen the entire diaspora all around the nation come together to respond to this disaster. And it certainly is a disaster. But the way I've seen people put aside some of their differences, whether Chaldean or Assyrian or Syriac or whatever it may be, and come together and say, this is still our homeland, this is still our people, and respond to this in such a noble way, is really, it opens my heart. And this benefit is no different. Seeing people come in this way, expressing their identity and their art and their expression. to give back to our community. It's a very creative way to do it. It's different than just saying, hey, we're going to raise money and send it this way. So yeah, I'm very excited and happy that we managed to do this and that we sort of corrected course instead of canceling it, decided to have it and direct our energy towards responding to the needs of our brothers and sisters in Bakhdeda.
Awesome. Why is it important to have Chaldean, Assyrian, and Syriac artists come together and showcase their work?
We only get one shot at preserving our identity. We're in a pivotal time now. Most of us don't live in the homeland. A lot of us don't speak Surath. We've opted to just use English, and it's understandable, right? We grow up, we go to English-speaking schools and English-speaking groceries or shops, and we want to assimilate, right? We don't want to be outsiders, but at the same time, if we don't use this opportunity, when in the age of information, there's always somebody who knows Surath or the language or the tradition that's just dying to share it because they understand the dire need to keep this going. And I think art inspires people to do that. It lets them know where they come from and where they're going and to have a sense of pride in it instead of the way we grow up. It's like we're kind of a little bit in the closet about where we come from because we don't want to be seen as different. But then we grow up and we go to college or go to high school, and then these differences are actually celebrated instead of bullied upon, right? And when we come together as a community and we see this art and how people in the younger generation, my generation, or even younger and older have come together and they're all sort of expressing the same thing in different ways, which is their roots, you get a lot of whether people of all ages have come here and just been captivated by the art and have come up to me and says, you know what? I've always wanted to draw and I've always been curious about where I've come from and I don't really have the answers, but this has really inspired me to go do some of that homework. So, and it's different than going to a wedding and dancing khigga or, going to the funeral and wondering why we do things the way we do them. But when we're doing things, it's not compulsory, right? You get an invitation, you got to go to the wedding. Or so, God forbid, and somebody passes away, you've got to go to the funeral. But this is not compulsory. Some people are coming here because they want to come here. Nobody's forcing anybody to be here. So you really see the community come together in a unique way to celebrate who we are, to learn more about who we are so that they can competently share where we come from. And so they have something to teach to their friends, to the rest of their family, and maybe to their kids one day. Because you can't teach what you don't know. You can't teach if you don't know Surath, you can't teach Surath. If you don't know your traditions or how to make dolma or whatever it is, or why we do things the way we do them, you can't pass it on. So I think these events and events similar to these are important because it wakes people up. It gives them a sense of pride, and we need that. We need that now more than ever.
Joseph Arabu, that's a great answer.
Yeah.
And it's much needed in our community. Also known as, goes by the artist name Shamash.
Yep.
Where can we find more of your work?
Yep. So I've got an album coming out on Spotify. You can find me on SoundCloud. I'm on TikTok and Instagram at Sound of Shamash. That's SHAMASH. My name is Joseph Arabu. It's 1 R, 2 B's. So ARABBO. You can look me up anywhere. Just Google me. And my name is plastered and my number is all over the place because of criminal defense stuff. So I'm an open book. If anybody wants to reach me and talk about history and wants to know more about things or where to learn Surath or whatever, like this is what I'm all about. We only have one community. We don't get another shot at this. If we continue at the trajectory of not being able to speak or preserve our language, it's going to die. And we have a really beautiful language, and it's never been easier to connect with people who care about this. Just like if you want to become a photographer or a YouTuber or whatever, you can go on YouTube and figure it out. Same thing, if you want to learn Surath or your history or whatever, you can figure it out. And I'm happy to help. Consider me your brother, and we'll figure it out together if I don't know how to. So That's what it's all about.
Thank you for stopping by our station, Joseph Arabu.
Yeah.
It's been a great time interviewing.
Truly a pleasure.
Awesome.
Thanks so much.
Beautiful.